Up YouTube, this is MetallicTCG, and today we're actually doing a product opening. Oh my god, we haven't done one of these in forever. So recently I've been hearing a lot of buzz and a little bit of anticipation around the One Piece card game, and some of the newer structure decks that came out did look kind of interesting just based off the art alone. So I decided to do the unthinkable and try to pick up potentially another card game, probably on a very casual level. I have some familiarity with One Piece. I remember as a kid how great the 4Kids dub was. I mean, come on, that 4Kids One Piece rap, that's iconic. So I decided to go with the Luffy structure deck, and I also picked up the Yamato structure deck because there was like a bundle going on where we got a discounted price. So we're going to be looking into the deck for the first time and see my overall thoughts on the cards. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe because we have a lot of awesome content coming up in the channel. There's actually one project particularly that I'm very excited for, so we'll make sure to have that up and running in the next few weeks or so. Stay tuned for that. And of course, if there's other TCG things you want me to look into, just let me know in the comments section below, and I'll be honest and transparent if I'm going to cover it or not. Anyway, let's jump into it. So we got the deck. Let's yeah, zoom in a little bit. So I mean, honestly, the cards themselves look, I don't know, they kind of remind me, I mean, like, they seem a little bit more like playing cards, like, you know, we would expect to like play with Solitaire and Go Fish and other data games like that, but still, we'll see how they feel, because honestly, a card's feel definitely does have like an impact for me. Okay, yeah, I mean, they they kind of feel like Shadowverse cards in a sense, so that's totally fine. Again, I'm not too familiar with how to play this game. I know there's like a somewhat mana system here, but we'll take a look and kind of like see if we can figure it out. So it looks like this is our leader card, Luffy himself. Your turn, when a character is KO, give up to one rested Dawn card to this leader. I'm assuming that must mean like energy or something like that, which I guess is kind of cool because like if it is like a resource or something like that, you can just have all the resources go to your leader and just do some damage, I guess. We'll put that, I guess, over to the side. Utah, okay. I actually have not seen One Piece Red. Let me know if you guys enjoyed Red in the comment section below. When this character cannot be KO'd in battle by leaders. Seems all right. Active main, you may rest this character. Give up to one of your opponent's characters 2 costs during this turn. Wait, give up to one of your opponent's characters 2 costs. Interesting. I'm not really 100% sure what that means, but I'm assuming we'll eventually kind of like get more into like what that means. I'm assuming rest is like some kind of like status or something like that. I'll definitely have to go. By the time this video is uploaded, I'll probably know how to play, and I'll be like, oh yeah, a bunch of my thoughts and opinions completely obsolete. Shanks, 9 for 10k. I mean, it seems kind of like comparable to like what we're seeing here. But Luffy doesn't have a cost. I'm assuming he's like kind of like a deck commander or something like that. So Shanks, from the Red Hair Pirates, you may trash 1 card from your hand. KO all characters with the cost of 1 or less. I mean, wait, a cost of 1 or less. So do you do like cost reductions? Because if not, I feel like Shank just isn't going to be doing so much. Because like almost everything we have is like 2 or above so far. Oh my god, yo, this dude, Gaimon. Oh my god, that is so early East Blue. That's awesome. No ability. Looks like it's counter plus 1,000. If anything, actually, now that I'm looking at like Gaimon, like he has like the power plus 1,000. It seems like this game might be very similar, if not, to Dragon Ball Super's Retrain. Which, if that's the case, that might mean picking this game up would be a little bit easier. Because I do have some experience with the Dragon Ball Super card game. Alright, so we got 2 of those. I guess we could just set these off to the side. We got our boy Kobe. Kobe, the little dude from the Navy. You may rest this card. K up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. It's like a 1 targeted version of Shank. Okay, looks like we're getting multiple copies, probably 4. Okay, so that's actually one thing I do like about card games these days is that like when you're getting a starter deck, in this case situation, you're getting 4 copies of a bunch of cards, which is good because it kind of helps establish early on in a card game's, you know, like when you first get introduced to a card game, that having typically multiple copies of a card available is good because it just convokes consistency right from the gate. Like if you look at some of the footage from like Yu-Gi-Oh structure decks, especially early on in star decks, like you get 1 copy of almost everything. You don't get like multiple copies. Shirahoshi. So she's a blocker. After your opponent declares an attack, you may rest this card to make the new tag to the target. Give it to one of your characters, -4 cost this turn. Interesting. So I guess there's like a lot of cost reduction. I'm assuming there's going to be 4 copies of this. Yeah, 4 copies. Interesting. Oh, Vivi. There you go. I haven't seen you in a while from Alabasta. Vivi is also a blocker. After your opponent declares an attack, you may give this card, rest this card to make the new target attack of this card. Interesting. So I guess blockers kind of make sense that they just block the attack and like take the front of it. Kind of like a similar concept to like, I guess, Magic. Well, Magic the Gathering, they attack you directly, but like in Duel Masters, you can choose to attack the player or tapped creature, so I guess it makes more sense. Higuma, on play, give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for this turn. Interesting. I guess like you can kind of see some synergy, like if you... So like if you reduce their cost and you like bust out your Shanks or something like that, if you like get all your opponent's characters cost to -2 or 1 or less, I guess it kind of makes more sense how some of our characters are just like reducing our opponent's cost. Not sure if that's like the functionality of the deck, but as a newcomer just jumping into this, that's what it kind of seems like it's going for. Interesting. Mikino, counter plus 2,000. If this character has a cost of 0, draw a card. Okay, yeah. So she has a cost of 2, so it's easily evident to see that cost is an important factor, at least for this deck, to kind of like show the concepts, which is kind of nice because you get her cost of 0, you get to draw 2 cards. I'm assuming this is the cost factor. I don't know what this number is. We'll eventually get to that though. Again, this is literally me just ripping the box and looking at the cards in first impression, which I gotta say, I do like the art. It's really cool how with the One Piece starter deck and structure deck and card game, and also even Dragon Ball Super, I'll give it shout out to. The art isn't like retrains like the old, like, you know, anime and shit like that. It's like original art and stuff like that. Monkey D. Garp. Hope you're doing well, my guy. It's got a cost of 5, I'm assuming, with 7,000. Counter of 1,000. I'm assuming you get 4 copies of Mr. Garp. 1 for each whelping that Luffy will receive. Okay, so we actually have character cards of Luffy as well. Assuming it's going to be 4 copies. Yes, sir. The Straw Hat Crew, cost of 3, I'm assuming, with the counter plus 1,000, 5,000. So I wonder if it's similar to the fact like the plus 1,000, like it kind of like helps other characters. I think Dragon Ball Super had something like that. Don't quote me on that, please. And then we got these 4 Laboons. Nothing special, just 4 6Ks. No abilities or anything like that that I can see. Oh my god, I haven't seen this guy since, what, like Alabasta? Baroque Works? Mr. 2, let's go. So at the start of the battle, which the, oh my god. At the end of the battle in which this character battles your opponent's character, you may KO your opponent's character you battled. If you do, KO this character. Okay, so he kind of trades. That's not too bad. It's like having a card that's a 1-for-1 and gets rid of a bigger threat than this card is worth. Not too bad, not too bad. We take those. And then we have 4 oh my god, we have like 4 copies of everything. So, Gum Gum Bell. You may add 1 card from the top of your life. Oh my god, like the terminology for this is just... You may add 1 card from the top of your life card to your hand. Give up 1 of your opponent's characters -7 cost this turn. I mean, that's not too bad. A trigger, add up to 1 black character card with a cost of 2 or less from your trash to your hand. Interesting. So I guess... if I had to put my bottom dollar or anything, I'm assuming the names of the borders, like how Monkey D. Luffy's like font is, you know, black color. I'm assuming that's what it means. Like, I'm assuming One Piece also has like a color system akin to like what Dragon Ball did. So the fact that this is a searcher and also reduces one of the costs of your opponent's cards by 7, which I guess works off for cards like Shanks and things like that. But also with the trigger, not too sure what that really means, but having the ability of getting a recursion from the GY. I'm assuming the trash is a graveyard. Again, this is me coming from a Yu-Gi-Oh player. That's how we do things. And then we have, oh, we only have 2 copies of this card. What? It's a 3, so it's Gum Gum Pistol. Okay, up to 1 opponent's character with a cost of 2 or less, and then you get the trigger for drawing a card. Not too bad. I think. I have no idea what I'm talking about. All right, and then I guess this is kind of like what the mana is. I think these are what they refer to as Dawn, which I don't know if we're limited to. Let's see, there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 10 Dawn cards. I'm not sure if that's like standard. I'll actually have to look and see if I can find a rulebook. But I'm assuming, oh, it says Dawn right there. I'm so dumb. But yeah, I'm assuming this is like, kind of like a mana resource or something like that, or just something to give our cards more fuel. I'll have to look into this a bit more to see like what the cost, feature, and structure stuff like that is. But overall, I mean, it's a Bandai card game, so the card feel is definitely there in a good way. I like the card art. The foil technology is pretty cool. I got to figure out how to play a little bit more. Is Luffy double-sided? No. But they did symbolize the differences in certain cards. Because as you can tell, it's red here for the leader, blue for, I guess, character. That is interesting. And then everything else is... Oh, okay. So blue card is basically the deck, and then yellow or white is Dawn. Okay. I guess it makes more sense. So interesting. So maybe Dawn is something from outside the deck. Honestly, though, again, overall first impression seems pretty interesting. I typically like to have just like starter decks or just like structure decks of like various card games I have somewhat of an interest in, so I can learn, play it. And then if anybody is over and they want to try jumping into it, I can just quickly show them. Like I even had the same thing with like 2 Pokemon structure decks, 2 Dragon Ball Super ones. So I figured why not add One Piece and of course Shadowverse Evolved, that has actually dropped the TCG. Overall, I'll have to let you guys know my thoughts and opinions on One Piece. The card game does seem pretty interesting. I'm very curious onto it, especially with the One Piece's long-winded history here. Don't forget to comment down below what your thoughts are on the One Piece game, and if you're playing or if not, why not. And if this actually gets enough attention, we might actually open up the second one that we have in the reserve here, being the Yamamoto. It's Yamamoto. The lighting and the bubble wrap doesn't do much justice. Anyway, that's going to be it for me tonight. You guys have a great rest of your night. Stay safe, stay hydrated. Don't hit the camera, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. All right, and I guess this is going to be somewhat of a different segment for the One Piece Luffy opening. Actually, looking into the deck, I actually found the structuring manual, so I guess we're just going to take a quick glance at this. I'll probably just carelessly slide this into the video so we can have this up. Anyway, so looks like the turn flow is stated right here. It looks like this is a game preparation. Card is, the deck can be made out of 50 cards with 1 leader card. A deck can contain no more cards of the same card numbers. A deck containing 10 Dawn. So 10 Dawn is quite the standard. Game preparation. Place your well-shuffled deck and Dawn in the designed areas. Place your leader in the leader area. Decide who goes first with rock, paper, scissors, or some other means. Hell yeah, we get the creative freedom on that, folks. Draw 5 cards from the top of your deck. You may choose to shuffle all the cards from your hand back into your deck and draw 5 cards. You may only do this once. Place cards equal to the life of your leader from the top of your deck into the area face down. Life of your character. Okay, so Luffy has 5 life. So in this context, we would do 5. The player goes first, starts their turn. So you start your turn. Down here, as you can tell, we have our character area. Looks like we can have up to 5 leaders right here. Stage, I'm assuming, is like field spells or stadiums. Here's our life cards, which I'd imagine are probably like treasure, or what is it called? Prize cards, that's what it is. Dawn deck, deck, trash, and cost area. The victory conditions: successfully attack your opponent's leader with their life character until there's 0 life cards remaining. The number of cards remaining in your opponent's deck reaches 0. So we start off with over here being the refresh phase. Return all attached Dawn cards on the field to your cost area. Select set all rested cards in your area as active. Okay, so I guess over here we could see that if it's active, it's untapped, and if it's rested, it's tapped. So I guess that's kind of like a concept from like Magic, I suppose. So then you draw a card. So I guess this is kind of like your untapping phase. So the player goes first, does not draw a card in the first turn. So you place 2 Dawn cards from the top of your Dawn deck into your cost area face up. The player going first only does 1. Main phase, you may perform actions 1 through 4 in any order as many times as you wish. Play a card resting by Dawn cards in your cost area equal to the card's cost. So, like for example, in the context down below, we would play, let's see, so play a card by the Dawn resting in the area. So you play like, what, 3 Dawns to summon Jinbei? Yeah, I mean, play a card by resting Dawn cards in your... So I guess you start off with 2 during your turn. So like you couldn't play Jinbei turn 1. You would have 2, and then... Yeah, I guess it makes sense. So like you would basically have like 2 Dawn, and then you'd grab 2 more to turn 2 so they could summon Jinbei. Attach Dawn cards. Dawn cards and an active status to your leader. So you give it 1,000. When Dawn cards attach, it leaves the field. The attached Dawn cards are rested and placed in your cost area. So I guess you can, like, reuse it again. Use a card's effect. Use the effects of a leader or card by fulfilling their condition. Dawn times 1, obviously it's 1. Dawn minus 1 can be used if you return 1 Dawn card from your field to the Dawn deck. Interesting. I guess that kind of makes more sense because based on here, like, you know, putting your Dawn back into the cost area is better because that's where you can play it. However, if you have to put, like, the Dawn from the field back to the Dawn deck, you're kind of, like, losing out on one of them because you're pretty much having, like, a -1 in a sense, right? So I guess the more powerful ones are probably like Dawn -1 because, again, it's putting you at a little bit less for resources. Attack by resting an active character or leader card in your field. Be aware that characters cannot attack on the turn they are played. Okay, so summoning sicknesses are a thing. Also, you can't attack turn 1. That'd just be disgusting. And then after that, you hit to the end phase. So, and then it goes back to the opponent's turn. So, interesting. So, with Jinbei, active, all right. Place 2 con cards in your field face up. Interesting. So place 2 Dawn cards. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, so based on this, it seems like you're doing 3 for that, so I guess it's fine. So then for battle, so let's see. So how do battles work? Attack 1 attack step. So rest 1 active character or a leader and designated target to attack. When anyone attacking creatures will attack and resolve, of course, on attack declaration. So Jinbei is tapping over to swing at Kaido, or I don't recognize this character. Actually, I'm terrible. So the block step, the player may activate their block character's ability. So like in this situation, Chomper is able to just take the hit, which I guess makes sense because having the blockers just be able to take the brute force against the leader just helps keep the game going and keep your life safe. The player who being attacked may be pulling a counter. Oh, interesting. So the player can either do a counter or a block, which I don't think we actually had any. I don't remember seeing counters. There's blocks from Shirahoshi. She's a blocker. Yeah, I didn't see any in here. So interesting. So it might just be like more like certain decks have it, some decks don't. Obviously, that makes sense. Damage step. Compare the power of the attacking and the defending creatures. The attacking card will win if the power is greater than or equal to the power of the card being attacked, leading to one of the results. So if the leader is attacked, the defending leader takes 1 damage. If the character is attacked, the defeated character is KO'd and trash. If the attacking character is defeated, nothing happens. When your leader takes damage, add 1 card from your life area to your hand. Okay, so the 5 for our case with Luffy, we'll just add that to our hand. So pretty much like the Pokemon Prize system. And then if that card has a trigger, you may reveal the card and activate it. Okay. So it's really interesting because like this card game, sorry if you could see this wire, by the way. It kind of incorporates a little bit of a lot of things. Like there's a little bit of Magic the Gathering. There's a little bit of Duel Masters. There's a little bit of Pokemon. And of course, a little bit of Dragon Ball Super. Overall, though, this seems, from the look of it, it seems to be pretty solid. Pretty easy and straightforward to look at and learn. And I guess this would be kind of like more of what you would expect from like a traditional field. Like here would be your deck, your stage card if applicable, your leader. This is where you'd put your Dawn, your cards for your characters, your trash. Still finding that hilarious. And then you just put your life here equal to the amount of your leader's life. And then of course your Dawn deck right here. So based on being a noob, something that you would expect this to look like would be, and then well-placed shuffle, sure. We're doing good. We're doing good. All right, I am ready to get. I'm just kidding. All right, but overall, it seems pretty interesting. I'll definitely have to tutor around with this thing. Hopefully, if we get lucky, they might make like an online decent like card game for One Piece. Even though I know they're just recently getting the Dragon Ball one set up, which, you know, Dragon Ball has been going on for a little bit longer, so we'll have to see. But overall, first impressions for the One Piece card game, not bad. I'll definitely have to get a few more games in. Definitely have to get in a few games to like get a feel for it, but on paper, everything seemed pretty solid. I also didn't catch this, but when you're actually looking at some of your characters, they actually have the counter on the right side. So I guess what that really means is that some cards might actually have like a counter trigger, like an event according to the rulebook. But when it comes with the player being attacked, they may play a counter card from their hand. So you can either use an event card, or I think you can actually discard, like for example, the boon to be able to give like a character plus 1,000, since it does have the counter aspect. So that's another interesting aspect of this game, where it actually has like pseudo hand traps in a sense. One thing I didn't really notice here until just like recently putting this stuff down is that with some of our characters, like the ones in our hand, they actually are the ones that have the counter. So you can potentially, when you're being attacked, you could discard this to get a counter of plus of 1,000, or even using like an event card that might actually happen. Like this is a trigger, so I guess you could actually use this, which is interesting. So that is just something I kind of picked up on. But yeah, that's it. Overall, pretty solid first impression. Hopefully we will get like some kind of like, mass way to play this game so I can get some more games in, because I don't think the One Piece card game is really taking off where I'm currently at. But still, it is nice just to have some of the decks, online, and just in case I want to have some casual games around the house. Take it easy, everyone.